Hello.
Hi.
It is what? What's my thing? Oh yeah, it's Wednesday. If you're on the Pacific Coast, it is noon, and it is time for another Courier Live. Today we are joined by Riley. She so kindly stepped in. We had some technical difficulties, and we're moving Kay's session to next week. So if you want to talk about design, please show up for that. But today there's some items that we need to do on our Node.js SDK. So I figured why not bring Riley in to help with that. SDK. So I figured why not bring Riley.
Whoopsies.
Yeah, we got a little feedback.
I opened the Twitch thing, and apparently we're like a little bit delayed. So.
Oh yeah, like I do that too, so I can have like my chat under my name, but I have to make sure that I mute it, and so like I can see myself over here delayed, and I'm trying not to look. I need to actually. The other thing I do is I hit pause on that. All right, so we got that taken care of. Well, thank you for joining us. I know that we've had you before. I'm going to say you're back by popular demand, and that popular demand was me. But you work the whole full stack of Courier. You do back-end work. You do front-end work. I've seen a lot of front-end work going out right now. I know you're working on the upcoming topics feature, which is going to be very exciting, and we're going to have a lot of sessions about that. But also, correct me if I'm wrong, but you, at a previous job, managed one of these client libraries, right?
I've built a couple different client libraries in the past, and kind of thought about the best ways to, kind of build them and have, just like, I guess, opinions. I've used a lot of them, and sometimes I go back and forth between, liking to use them, but also just very cautious about using them because, if people who maintain them don't keep them updated and documentation's out of date, it's like I'd rather just use their API since that's most likely. So I'm pretty opinionated about these little libraries. So,
I mean, I've made a couple of them. I think the first one that I made was wrapping a SOAP layer. So if you don't know what that is, don't look it up. Don't worry about it. But then when I was at SparkPost, I helped to build the Node.js library for SparkPost. But it wasn't in TypeScript. I don't think TypeScript had really caught on then. But this is interesting working on this one. So as some of you might know, Troy actually started this one, Troy, our CEO, whenever he was first building Courier. And since I came on, I've been adding to it. And so I'm new at TypeScript. So like I'm just trying to kind of follow the example and not break anything. So hopefully everything works right. But I think it's gone well so far.
Yeah, I'm pretty new to TypeScript as well. I've really enjoyed the abstractness of JavaScript in the past and like little shortcuts I could take. And TypeScript definitely forces you to not do that stuff. But at the end of the day, I can't see myself going back without types just because it's it helps you so much with like bugs that you would maybe not find out until you were in runtime and things like that. So I'm happy with it.
Yeah. So today, I think the main thing that I want to do is we just released an idempotency feature for all of our post endpoints. So have you dealt with idempotency before?
I hear Troy say the word, and I hear people on our engineering team say it a lot. I don't know entirely what it means. I mean, I guess it means like one-time use type of thing. Like it can't change, or like you like send a message once, and then if you send the same one again, we say, oh, we've already got that one. We're not going to do it. That is idempotent, meaning that it's matches to the same one. Something along those lines. But I don't know it that much more familiar besides like kind of that small context.
Yeah, well, let's dive into it. I'm going to switch views here. So this is, we got my screen, but this is the Courier API reference documentation. And you'll notice that there is a new section for idempotent requests. And so what this is going to do is it's going to allow us to, along with our along with our regular requests, we're going to be able to send an idempotency key. And so that is going to go into a header value. And what's going to happen is if you send this request multiple times, it's going to return kind of the same result. So if you sent a request and maybe there was a network connection and you don't know if it actually went through, you can go ahead and resend that request with the same idempotency key. And then you're only sending, in the case of a send, you're only sending one notification. So you're not like spamming your customers with like multiple notifications because you're not sure if it went through. So this is very helpful if you're familiar. Well, of course you're familiar with Stripe because we use it, but Stripe also supports idempotent requests. And so you can read more about it. For the case that I use a lot when actually using our send, if I was to send a notification and set an idempotency key and then immediately send it again, you would see from both of those requests the same message ID.
You know, like this makes me think. So I used to work at an e-commerce company, and we used Stripe, and we got ourselves in trouble a lot because we would sometimes have hiccups in our backend where we would charge people multiple times for the same thing. And like idempotency probably would have helped us a lot because we ended up having all of these fires where we would like go in there and have to aggregate SQL tables and join them together and then create like a network request and then hit Stripe to do all the refunds and then get emails of everybody. And
yeah, I feel like sending multiple notifications is a lot more forgivable than charging people many, many times. So you can see there's a little example here.
Yeah, I learned a lot from a company being on fire all the time. So that's one silver lining of companies on fire all the time. I learned to put out fires and learn how to not start fires.
Right. Yeah, so we have like a little curl example here. So this is basically, this is a send request. And you can see that we're passing over our data, we're sending our recipient, we're sending our event. And then we have this extra idempotency key header. And we suggest that you use a UUID v4, but really any random string with enough entropy to avoid collisions. So you can read more about that in the docs. But let's take a look at our Node client library. So our client libraries are open source. You can fork them. You can contribute to them. We welcome pull requests, so feel free to do that. I already have this cloned, and I have a branch ready. So let me switch over to VS Code. And we are using the, what is this called? The live share on VS Code. So Riley and I are synced up on this. So
how do I go where you are?
If you go into, so right now I'm nowhere. But if you go into the live share menu, you should see me as a participant.
Oh.
And then it will say where I am. So I know that you have types.js open at line 14. And I could jump right there if I want.
I sent you a message. Did that work?
Where would that be? Comment?
I don't know.
Output? I don't know where that is.
I clicked on your name on the left, and it had a little like message bubble. In the recent contacts, and it had a message bubble, and I clicked it, and then it gave me an option to send you a
live share chat. One new, Riley.
Hi.
Oh, okay. So there's the chat window.
Cool.
That's cool.
I've never used this before. This is all new to me. So
yeah, I've used it. So I collaborate a lot with people outside of Courier, but also I'm remote. So this is great for people outside of Courier if we want to work on the same thing and see the same screen without using something like Zoom.
I've done so many Zooms where I take control of somebody's screen, and then I'm like editing code through Zoom, and it's just like.
Yeah, like I think it was yesterday you took control of my screen.
Yeah, like that probably is it. This probably makes a little more sense.
Yeah. All right, so let's dive in. I don't know how familiar you are with this. So we have our, we got our index. So we are using Axios on the back end to make these requests. We have our Courier client, which is creating an Axios instance. So we're using an instance of Axios. and we're adding some of the default information, like the authorization for our bearer token and our user agent string, which we use internally, and then passing that over. And then I think most of the magic happens inside client here. So this is all of the client stuff that we return. So here's all of our different functions. But we have, so let's start with the send, because for the idempotency key, it really only affects post commands, because by definition, all the other ones are idempotent. If I'm wrong on any of this, please, everyone.
It would be for post, and I guess we don't have anything for, well, I guess we probably have put, right? But that would be.
With put, if you make the same update twice, then it results in the same thing. So if you were to update
hopefully.
Yeah. But in our case, I believe that's true.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay, so we have here's our request. And from our options, we're getting our HTTP client, we're doing a post, and that takes, can I do that? Okay, cool. So it takes a URL and it takes a body. So what we need to do is be able to set, well, one, we need them to be able to pass in an idempotency key, and then we need to be able to take that and set that header value. So right now, it looks like our post doesn't accept a header. So we do need to make a modification there.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I've seen this a couple different ways where different HTTP clients, like they give you a way to pass in multiple arguments, and then they also give you one where it's like, hey, I'll just pass you one argument with an object that has everything that you could possibly want to do.
And I think that the HTTP client, like the client.post, actually has a headers object. I just don't think that we have it in this. What is it? This.
Yeah.
The definition, I guess.
Yeah, so Axios.
Yeah. Let's take a look at Axios here.
Yeah, it looks kind of like if you want to get more control over that, you do the one with just options. But let me see.
Okay, so here's post. Yeah. So because we're using, so this Axios.post as a helper function built on top of, I think the regular Axios call. It's been a while since I dug deep into this. Oh, okay. So here's the regular Axios, where we pass in the method.
Yeah, we might have to.
Well, there is a config. So Axios.post, URL, data, and then there is a config object. And I'm thinking that config object is what we need to pass in.
Where's the config object?
I know. Request config. Wait, is that? So there's is this the right one?
Config seems to be like base URL headers. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Base URL timeout headers.
And so it looks like if we supply a third object, we can pass in headers. So we can pass in this headers value. Okay. So looking back at the code, so where is this defined so we can update the type?
Oh, that's probably Axios itself.
Is it?
Yeah, because there's options.http client, and I imagine option. Oh no, I guess options.
Well, yeah, options is this, right?
Yeah, okay.
Courier client config. So that's going to be in types. Courier client config. Oh, well, that's IHTTP client. Ah, wait, no. Oh, IHTTP client. Okay. Oh, so there's post. We're finding it, and then HTTP method class. Oh, no. Oh, wait, sorry. HTTP method client. So that's this right here. So here's where it's being set. And so it takes the URL, which is a string, the body, which is an object. And then I think we should just be able to put config, and we'll call that an object. I'm sure we should probably get like.
Well, we could probably put an object that has headers and then our key on it, because I think that people, if they're trying to add idempotency, we should have a type for it.
Well, I think this part is going to be kind of hidden from them, and so like in the send method, that's where we would have them set that. But we could like kind of go as far down and say headers object.
Yeah, that works.
So that way we have like a little bit more typing, at least the typing that we need.
Yeah.
So we'll save that, and we'll go back over here in the client. So now whenever we look at this, we have another config that has a config object that has headers.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have a way to pass the header over, but now we need to grab it. So, all right, so we got send, so it takes that and return. Okay, so send parameters. So we're going to need to modify send parameters to have it take an idempotency key.
I mean, we should maybe have it be a second parameter. So it should maybe be a comma headers. Because parameter.
Well, let's go in and take a look at that type. So we're looking for the send parameters. The send parameter. Oh, here's one. It's not the one I wanted. This one. So we're taking all of this information. So this is what somebody.
That's like post body stuff, though, and right, and we're anticipating that they want to give it. We're going to put it in the header, so we don't want to mix up putting stuff in the body and in the headers, right? Unless are we putting the idempotency key? When someone gives us the idempotency key, do we expect it in a header, or are they giving it to us as a?
Well, they would give it to us as part of. They would have to pass it in as part of the method, because whenever I do, so if I have a Courier client created called client, I would do client.send, and then I would pass it all of this information. But I think this is.
I guess I wasn't sure if the idempotency key is a header value or it's a.
Idempotency key is a header. We have to send it as a header value, but they don't have direct access to the headers whenever they call this method.
But they can as a second parameter, so they can pass in. So right now they can call send with the first parameter is an object of body. We can have the second one be headers.
Yeah, I'm like, what's my? Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because this is an object that you pass in. Yeah, but I would maybe call it options or config, because like it might become a time where there's something that's not really part of the body, but it might not be a header.
Yeah.
Just to abstract that out a little bit more. So where do we? So we have to change. So this is the parameters, and that's part of. Whoops. I hate it whenever they don't stay. Nope, we're in client. Okay. So we've got where? Okay. Oh, here it is. This is okay.
Yeah, I think we just want to put a comma there, right?
Yeah, comma, and then do we want to do options or config?
I mean, I think that probably. I lean towards config just because that's what Axios kind of calls it, and it's going to kind of be representative of the Axios config. So I think that probably makes sense.
Now, since we're going to be doing this for all of the posts, like, should we call this like Courier? Well, I guess it would be. I guess we should probably do it Courier send config, right, for the type.
Yeah, just because I think that like this is going to be an opt-in config for post requests. Yes, our post requests can support it, but we're not going to sit here and put config on every single post request that doesn't necessarily need it, I guess, at this point.
Yeah. Oh, and then also I should probably do a question mark because config is optional.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. So we need to create this guy back over in types. And hopefully okay, so here's the send parameters. I'm just going to put it right next to the other one. So we're creating an interface. This is the part where I'm looking at what was done before and doing it again.
That's all coding is, especially when you just search on the internet and then find somebody else who used to do it and then change it to what you need it, right?
It's fine. It's fine. And so this is going to be Idempotency Key, and that is going to be a string.
I mean, we should maybe match the string that we have in our header.
Well, I think for that, like, so this is just my feelings. Is we should keep, if we're doing JavaScript, we should do variables the way JavaScript does it. So what is this? Is it camel case or snake case?
Yeah. Here's a question that I want to ask: is config going to have a property called headers, or is config just going to have a property called idempotency key?
I think it should just have a property called idempotency key, because this is a courier config. Like, you don't need, like, if I'm one of our customers using this library, like, do they need to know that the idempotency key goes in the header, or do they just need to know that if they supply the idempotency key, it works?
I mean, the perspective that I would have as kind of like a developer on that would be that if I'm reading the documentation and the documentation has it in a headers object, I would assume that I would put it in a headers object in the API client. Because if I ever need to put more headers into our requests later, now all of a sudden I'm going to have another headers object and an idempotency key property. To me, I would rather just make space for future headers by putting it in there and just matching the case. So say, hey, I can put any header I want here, and this is one of them. That's my perspective on it. But
yeah, I mean, I see this as like we're abstracting out things, because like if you wanted that level of control, would you be using our client library, or would you just be using Axios directly?
I mean, like here's another example, is that like I've had to do stuff with email clients where you have to provide a message ID such that the messages get threaded when you send them. And those types of things you have to actually put it on the headers object, because they didn't make space for every single possibility of options.
Right.
And I mean, the only concern that I would have is that the second that we start exposing a headers object to these, now you can place the idempotency key in two different places. That's just kind of the way I think about it. Because if you ever just need to expose headers and say, hey, you can have all access to whatever headers you want, now you could set the idempotency key in two different places. Right,
but these are the headers for the send, like in this case, the send endpoint. So like what headers do we allow, or are you trying to like future-proof this?
I'm trying to future-proof it. I'm trying to say that, hey, it's a header. Headers are kind of advanced stuff anyways. So let's just say, hey, you have access to setting the headers. And then if you ever need to set another header yourself, then you can add that there. And we don't have to actually necessarily do the work of saying every single header needs a option or a config. And then also the the shape of the config that we're passing into send kind of matches the shape of the config of Axios, such that it's config.headers, which is the same way Axios does it.
Right. But one thing that I feel like we're doing is we're abstracting away what we're using underneath, because what if we come in someday and we're no longer using Axios? Like, we found a request library that is faster, better. I mean, whenever I first created a client library for Node.js, I was using the request library.
Yeah.
Request library, like, it didn't support promises, right? And it never updated.
Request promise.
And then that went, but then that went away, and you had to use request promise. Some people went to Axios. So I feel like another way of future-proofing it is to not tie it directly to like the underlying library.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I'm just, kind of just going back and forth between, my love-hate relationship with using Node modules, and then saying, oh, just give me the flexibility sometimes. But I support it. I support both.
Well, I think since this is similar to how it was done, like in the Python library, where we just expect people to know to pass an idempotency key, and then we take care of the lifting underneath. Like, let's continue with this way. So if they pass a config object with an idempotency key, we'll do the right thing.
Well, I didn't know that we added this to the Python library already.
So the first client that we had to want to use this is a Python client, and I'm surprised. Like, if you look at just like the number of requests that we're getting, I think it's very interesting because we're gonna have a lot of Python coming in. I don't know why I always assume it's going to be Node. Maybe that's because that's what I use the most, but it's really interesting to see like what languages our customers are using. So like I went ahead and got that put in really quickly. And I think, basing it off of other places that use idempotency, it was very similar to how they did it at Stripe for their Python library. So it made me feel good that, I didn't just come up with that, or like I feel validated. All right, so now we have this send config. I believe we need to pull it in here, and I think these have to be alphabetized. Courier send config. I think the way that the TypeScript is set up, like if those imports aren't alphabetized, then it will yell at you. So I'll just go ahead and alphabetize it. Okay, and so now we have an optional. We can send in an optional config, and it's got a type. Cool. So now we need to, I guess, optionally use it. How do you normally do it? So do you do like and I think optional chaining is still too early, but like, do you still do the like if config and config.idempotency key, or?
I think I would, let me think here. I think that I would maybe do something like.
Oh yeah, because we do need another object in there. Okay.
I don't know what this is.
Let me pull that up.
I think it's capital I or something.
It's capital I hyphen capital K.
So I think that if we want to, let me think it. So the hard part is because it's like we only have one option right now, right? So it's going to be something like.
So if, well, we want, so yeah. So
we do like config. And go like this.
I love when it doesn't help you at all. Like the autocomplete.
Should have turned off my Google Hangouts. I think something. So we have space for new ones in the future.
Okay, yeah. So Okay, so yeah, config can be empty. Yeah, so we'll initialize it if we don't have it.
Yeah.
And then we'll add the idempotency key. Except it wouldn't look like, wait, because the config object that we send in to Axios needs to be an object with headers.
Oh, that's what I meant.
Oh, okay. Nah. Ah, okay.
Something like,
Why is it upset?
I don't know. It's always upsetting.
Oh, it's because we haven't used it yet.
Well, this is yellow. Oh, equals.
Oh,
Let config.
oh, it doesn't like that it's.
So this is going to be. We have a type for Axios. Does Axios give us types?
Well, is that going to be confusing because you're naming it the same thing as the parameter that we're passing in?
So I can do something like HIJK element of P. What was our that or TP method client?
I think if you
Oh,
no, method client, that's not the Axios one.
but you have it here, right?
Oh, yeah. Should you just do dot?
Can I do?
Well, no. Oh shoot, no, the Axios header. Header client method.
I need to. It's because it's a generic, right? Okay, maybe I do. Yeah. Let's do HTTP client.
Like, is the hold on, let's see.
So post.
Oh, we have iCourier. Oh, you don't have the. Yeah, we're not importing that yet.
I did import it.
Oh, IHTTP. Okay. Oops.
I think that's because this is a function and it returns that. So I think that we could do. Is,
that should be an interface. What happens if you're?
I think that. Let me just export a type. It says.
Help me. Oh.
I feel like there has to be a Axios type that you can just import for that.
Yeah, I feel like there should be. Oh wait, is this not?
I mean,
Oh, you're in there. I was like, why is this not saved? I forgot to save it.
Axios type script.
Well, I wonder if you can get it from the iCourier client configuration .htp client or can you do that? Can you like travel down?
You can, but I think that's because the one that I was trying to use is a function. It was getting mad at me for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know where the types are.
Let's go into the Axios node module and see if they have types for me. Looks like we don't have them installed. Let me just look here. Okay, let's see. Types. Do we not have Axios TypeScript?
I
don't think we have the TypeScript.
Oh, the types for it?
Yeah. At types. I don't think we have types Axios.
Well, I think Axios doesn't Axios have it built in. Like you only need to use that at types if it's not built into their client, and I think their client is TypeScript aware.
See that
because it's not yelling like where is it that we're like
it would yell at us if we
so like see like here in index like we have Axios instance where's that coming from oh wait because it doesn't care. Very weird.
Let's look and see where we use Axios and then .create Axios instance is a thing. Axios instance. So if I did post. Cool, Axios request config. There we go. So if we do
see, we didn't change anything on index. I'm going to close that. Don't save. All right.
Cool. That looks better. Basically, I just ended up trying to make a mock call to Axios to see what his type was. So it's like, you couldn't see what I was doing because I typed in basically Axios instance dot post, and then the little tooltip that popped up for me.
Yeah, it didn't pop up on my side. Okay, so do we want to call that? But do we want to call this Axios headers or just Axios config?
Oh, Axios config.
I think that would. Okay. So if we have a config object and there's an idempotency key, then we are adding we're adding it to the headers inside there.
So usually, the one thing that I was trying to do is that like, so if we had like multiple configs, right, we would want to say, hey, we did this, and we said some other header. We wouldn't want to do this, right? Because we'd want to not overwrite this. So we'd have to do Axios headers is equal to Axios headers or that. But it's getting mad at me because they're saying use before it was assigned.
Can't you just use the like the spread operator? Like whenever you put it on, you just spread.
Well.
Well, I mean, so. Oh, okay, hold on. Yeah, because whenever you. There's a way I've done this before.
It's getting the TypeScript's getting mad. Usually, it's like I don't know why. It's thinking this is not defined.
Wait, this is duplicated. I'm going to take this out. It's messing with me. So I think what we can do is if we make this here and we put headers in.
Yeah, but the goal I was trying to say was that if Axios config is undefined, then we don't have to do anything, right? Which I guess is fine. We could just, I just don't want to pass Axios config. Yeah, I guess we could do it that way. I guess that is probably good. So we could do equals headers, and then get rid of this.
And
just literally like that.
Yeah, because then if we have the config and it has the key, then we just adding on to that.
So we should probably actually take this config here and add it to here. I'm on the types page.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Instead of where we just kind of built it out with one. Where are you?
Well, no, I'm at the very top. So basically, I added this because our types were getting mad at each other?
Right. Yeah. No. That makes sense. So our optional config is ev type Axios request config because this matches the Axios type, I guess. Did you? Well, this is just a. Oh, because you put.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, so that's a comma because they're parameters, not because object. Cool. So I think that works. So the next step would be to update our test to include this.
Okay, hold on. I'm just. You didn't make any changes in index, right? Because I got it's not saved. Okay, so I'm just going to close it and not save it. We got the client. We did that. We're now passing an Axios config. Cool.
The only thing that concerns me about that is that now we're always passing a config. Well, we also have to make sure that does passing that config, does that overwrite the headers that we
No,
created?
I think they're merged. Or well, that's a good headers. Let's see what it says. Well, this is made for custom headers, and if you pass a custom header, it's not going to override the regular headers. I think it's merged.
Well, we can write a test and we can find out.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we did send. Let's go over. So we're in our index.test.ts. All right. So if we go up here to the top, we've got our send test.
Mm-hmm.
So we should probably create a new one, or how do we do this?
So yeah. So what we probably want to do here is say copy the test here.
No. Okay.
And say send with Idempotency Key.
Cool. Yeah. This is similar to what I did in Python.
Yeah. So then send data do, and then here.
So we're gonna put in an idempotency key.
And then Courier 5 for the win.
Yeah, we should probably replace that before we publish.
Expected one argument, but got two. So send. Looks like our type here. Courier client. Why is it not like a send?
It's not liking the new types that we put in.
Yeah, let's look here. Send. So courier client send. Okay, yeah. So in types, line 162.
Types line 162. Oh, we have that little duplicating thing. We need to put in our config iCourier.
Yeah.
And config.
Cool.
Yeah, that's what it was. I've done that before. Whenever I was doing the brands, I forgot to update it there too. So now we go back to test. Does that make it happy?
Say that is a comma, or it's optional.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that.
Okay, cool. So now what we have is
I think the red went away. Wait. Yep. Red.
So now mock send response. What mock send response looks like is
where is that?
Okay, so we have mock adapter, right? So then we want to say we don't care about the result of this, right? So what we can do is just
where'd you go?
I'm on line 100.
Line 100. I know there's an easy way to jump to where you are. I just don't know it right now.
Basically, we can send this, and then we can do
because we want to check to see that the key was created in the header that was sent over, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
I think what we can do is say the mock adapter. Let's look at the
Oh, wait.
Axios mock adapter documentation quick to see how that will work. Because I'm thinking it's like a jest object, but I just don't want to make any assumptions here.
Yeah. Okay. So let me pull that up.
Yeah. So.
Okay. I guess that's this one. Well, it's probably that one. That one will lead me. So what are we looking for? I guess.
So we're looking for a way to get. Basically, we want to see what Axios got from us, right? We don't. So like all of our other tests are returning. They're basically saying, hey, whenever you call send, respond with this message ID. Then we're verifying that Axios sent it. But what we want to do is we want to actually
we want to inspect the request that we're sending.
Exactly.
Well, the Axios request that we're sending to Courier. And
yeah, so
would it be like this? So we got this mock on post.
Yep.
And then like there's an expect object containing. So what is that? Is that the header? Is the headers right here? This third. So
yeah. So it returns a function, and the function see right there, the dot reply has a config, and I think that config is what we want to look at.
Okay, I missed it.
Scroll up a little bit.
Okay.
So see, it has so basically that example right there has mock.onAny.reply. If you go to scroll down a little bit farther, there's a callback function for it. And if you see in that callback function, I think that config will have config.headers. That's what I'm thinking. So we can try and see what that does.
Where is this? Oh my gosh. All right, maybe it's up at the top.
So basically what we want to do is we want to have access to our mock. So I'm back in the code playing around if you want to jump back over.
Yeah, sure.
So
maybe TypeScript will help us.
Yeah, so what we want to do is we basically want to, so all of our other tests set up the mocks before every single test. But for this specific one, we want to have a custom mock so that we can access our idempotency key in the header. So what we have to do is we have to make the mock available to us. So we can do let mock up here, and then we can do mock is equal to.
Okay.
I don't know entirely if this is going to conflict, but we can try and copy this and then say, so on post reply. And here's what I think we can do a callback function of config. And then we can do console.log config.
Okay.
And then terminal, let's do, I'm assuming.
It's like I can't see your terminal.
Cannot edit a read-only terminal request. Is that possible thing to do?
Oh, yeah, you want permission? Okay, so I gave you permission while I see you typing.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. Oh, this is cool.
Pretty cool. So we do yarn test, and then tests -t, and then give it our test name.
So we're running a specific test.
-watch. I don't think we have coverage installed here. Let's see.
I'm not sure. Let me make this a little bigger.
One skipped. Oh, I think I have a / in there somehow. No. Let's do yarn test. We don't have that many tests. Yeah, -t should pick that up.
I'm not seeing.
I'm not seeing our test.
I'm not seeing where it ran. Yeah.
Save. There we go.
Oh, failed. Okay.
Save. Okay.
Well, yeah, I think it's upset about the TypeScript because it's got the any type.
Yeah. So let's see what this gives us. Mock adapter. Mock.
my gosh. Okay. Yeah.
Is that happier? Void is not assignable to type any promise.
So it looked like in the docs, like this on post, there were multiple parameters in there, and one of them I saw that they were looking at the headers. So like if I switch back over here, because they were looking at the authorization header. Where was that?
I see. So it's looking for a.
So yeah. So like the first is the endpoint. The second looks like the body. The third looks like the headers. And so like in here they're doing expect.object containing, and this is where I don't know if that's
reply says a status or callback. So Axios void is not. So basically, I have to call back response back. I think I have to return something.
Oh, okay.
From this. Let's do return message ID hello world. Happier maybe? No. No. Message ID is not assignable to any. Maybe async. Promise message is not assignable to any array or promise. So what's an array? That's weird.
Well, it's failing now.
No, well, I mean it fails because we don't have a assertion.
Oh well. Oh, so look, I'm looking at so you got this console log, and so it looks like you dot headers. So the object that's being config.headers.
Yeah.
And then I think you can look at it.
Yeah. So we should be able to. So I think that the response of that, I think that it wants an array, and I think that the first thing in the array that it wants is probably the status code. So we'll do 200 comma.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then and here we should be able to do expect config.headers
Idempotency capital K. Yeah.
Is equal to is expect
Is equal. Yeah. Or,
I'm confused for a second. To equal to be. It's like let's just make sure this breaks.
oh, okay. Broke. That's good.
And then we could also do response. I want to test to see that this is what is the response from this.
Is that going to be? Oh, you want to? Okay. Oh, I see.
This is my own curiosity here.
I thought you were trying to like test our idempotency like on the back end. I was like, but we're mocking it.
Well,
yeah.
So basically, yeah. So we can just do return that 200 and cool. Now we have a test that makes sure it just makes sure that the header is in the right place.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the best that we can do for Idempotency Key is whenever they pass it in, it gets put in the right place. I don't think we're not going to be able to actually test that the idempotency worked. Like we can't do the same thing command twice to make sure that they got the same message ID, right?
Yeah, I mean maybe we will on our backend, but not for the library.
Right. Oh, I'm sure we have the tests on our backend. Well, great. So that's one. I think there are maybe 2 more post instances, but we are coming up on time. So I will probably finish that out behind the scenes. But we were able to get it working on one post, and so it's going to be similar on the others. And then we even wrote a test for it. So I'm happy with this.
Me too.
And as soon as we do another release, then this will be out there and ready for people. So yeah, I think we're good for this. Of course, after I'm done, I will submit this as a PR, and then it will go through approvals, and then we'll merge it in. And if you follow our repo or you go in there and look, you will see the PR, and you can see everything that we ended up doing. This will go out as a blog post probably next week, and I'll make sure to add some code snippets of what we actually did for the rest, and where to find what we did in code. But thank you for joining me, Riley. This is something that normally I'm kind of heads down working on, but it was nice to have some discussion. I know we got kind of deep there about how to implement it, but I think that's really cool, and it's things to keep in mind. But I think we'll let everybody go.
Cool.
Thank you for joining. I see that we have some people watching along. Tune in at the same time next week. Hopefully Kay will have internet, and we'll bring him on to talk about our design, which is going to be very cool. But until then, I'm looking for the right button. Cool.
Thanks, guys.